We have a trapezoid. So the formula that we use is to take the height times base 1 plus base 2 all over 2. Okay, so number 15 is a trapezoid. This is just a little different than some of them that you guys did for me. What's the height? The 9 is the height, so I know that. So I'm going to put a 9 into the H. Okay, what's my top base? My top base is 13. My problem is I don't know the other base, so that's what I'm going to figure out, and then I'll divide by 2. So let's look for a second. The ones I tried to give you for the most part for your homework assignment were like the ones in the notes where you didn't have to do anything special. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to drop this down. If this is 9, what do you think this right here would be 9? Would be 9. Okay, and how far is it from here to here? That part right there is 13. I need to figure out what that is right there. So what would I do? Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to focus on this triangle over here. I'm just going to go ahead and call this x. And what would the Pythagorean theorem look like? So x squared plus 9 squared equals 15 squared, or 9 squared plus x squared equals 15 squared. It doesn't matter which way you write it. So I'm going to go x squared plus 9 squared equals 15 squared. Okay, and then I can make my calculator help me out. Take a moment and figure out what you get for just that.
For the base?
For just x. You get 12. When you subtract the 9 squared, you get 144. And then when you square root both sides, you do get 12. So that's a 12. What do you think this little piece right here would be? 12, because it's the same kind of triangle, a 9 and a 15. So that would be a 12. So then how long is the whole thing, Cody? 37. So that's going to go right there. Okay, so once I know all my pieces, I can just work it out. So take a moment, and let's see what you get. Mm-hmm. 225? Does anybody need me to put it in the calculator at all for you? Okay, so the ones I tried to give you guys for your homework, as well as the ones that were in the notes, didn't involve the Pythagorean theorem, except for that one I threw in on the homework because I just wanted to see what you would do. Okay, let's look at number 16. When you look at 16, what shape is 16? Can you tell? It's a rhombus. How do you know it's a rhombus? Because what? Oh, okay. And all sides are congruent? All sides are the same length? So it's either a rhombus or a square, and I can tell it's not a square. So because this is a rhombus, I need that formula. What is it? D1 times D2 over 2. Okay, so this diagonal, I already know him. How long is that diagonal right there? 30. So I've got a 30. My problem is I don't know the other diagonal, so I need to figure that out, and then I'll divide by 2. Okay, so let's figure out what that other diagonal is. So I'm going to draw it in. Now, there's a few things that I know. I know that because a rhombus is a parallelogram, these diagonals do something to each other. What do? They bisect each other. They chop each other in half. So if this whole thing is 30, what's just this part? 15. Okay, so this little part is 15. So I know that other little part's 15. So I know that. I also know something else. Whenever you have a rhombus, diagonals do something else. Do you remember? They make right angles. They form 90-degree angles in the center. So if I am trying to figure out this length right here, then what would I do? Pythagorean theorem. What would it look like? Yeah. 15 squared plus x squared equals 17 squared. Or x squared plus 15 squared equals 17 squared. Okay, take a second and figure out what just x is. And what do you get? 8. When you subtract the 15 squared, that makes 64. And when you square root both sides, you get x to be 8. Okay, so if this little guy right here is 8, how much is this piece right here? 8. So how long is that whole diagonal? 16. So once I know that, then I can actually work it out. And what do we get if we take 30 times 16 divided by 2? 240. Beautiful. So some of them are a little bit harder if we have to do something besides just plug in the numbers into the formula. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing more problems where we are going to see a 30, 60, 90 triangle come in, and where we see like a 45, 45, 90 triangle come in. So not only will we have to do Pythagorean theorem sometimes we'll have to revert back to those 30, 60, 90s and 45, 45, 90s. Okay, so I want to show you what I'm going to have you do for me today. And this is pretty easy. Hopefully you can get it done in class. So the next page is page 5. Just go ahead and rip page 5 out. Hopefully that doesn't tear apart your packet. Did it tear apart your packet? If it tore apart your packet, you can restaple it a little bit. Okay, so this initially was meant to cut these out and glue them on, but I don't really want to have you mess with that. If you feel like cutting them out and gluing them on, you can do that, but I just think that we can do it without. So these top cards right here, I was just going to have you write them in the blanks, and then the bottom ones, those are the answers you should be getting for your problems. So let's look at this first problem on page 7. I'm just going to do the first one with you, and then I'll leave the rest for you to do. So this first problem that you see, what shape is it? A triangle. So which of these formulas are we going to use? Yeah, the 1/2 base times height. But instead of cutting it out and gluing it on, I'm just going to write exactly what I see here onto my empty space. So I'm going to write down what the card said, which was A equals 1/2 BH. And then I'm going to write down, I think they're right there. I'm going to write down the B equals and the H equals. But like I said, if you wanted to actually cut it out and glue it on, you could. But I was just going to have you write down exactly what you see the paper have. Okay, so what do you think the base of this triangle is? 6. This is my triangle right here, and the base of it is 6. Okay, now I need to figure out the height. Any suggestions? I am going to do Pythagorean theorem. This is the height. This guy right here, that's what I really need to know. I'm going to go ahead and call that x. So, do you know what sides we'll be using? What'd you say?
X squared plus 8 squared.
Yeah, we're going to look at this whole big triangle here. And how long is this whole bottom piece?
8.
8. So it will be what squared plus what squared equals what squared?
8 squared plus b squared.
8 squared plus b squared equals 10 squared, or 8 squared plus x squared equals 10 squared, whatever letter you want. So this whole bottom is 8. So 8 squared plus the x squared equals the 10 squared. Okay, let's take a moment and figure out what just x is. Oh, no. I'm going to do that for when I actually find the area.
Wait, did you say all the answers? Oh, wait, no, never mind.
Okay. And what do you get for x?
6.
6. When you subtract the 8 squared, you get 36. And then when you square root both sides, you do get 6. This happens to be a 6, 8, 10 triangle. Earlier in the year, we talked about the 3, 4, 5 triangle a little bit. We talked about the 6, 8, 10. We talked about some other ones, but those two appear quite a bit. Okay. So we just found the height to be 6. So now over here where it says workspace, I actually want you to find the area by plugging in what you know into the formula. So if you want to do base times height divided by 2 instead of 1/2 base times height, that's fine. So what did we say the base was? 6. And what did we say the height was? 6. And what do you get if you work that out? Oh, I messed something up. The height is... What did I mess up? What did I do?
Is the base 8?
Oh, no, that is correct. I messed it up in my other class.
Then it's
18.
Oh, silly me. It is 18. Is that one of the answers on the bottom squares? Shoot, I did it wrong in my other class and I didn't say anything. Okay, So these little squares down here, you don't need to cut them out, but it can just be a checking tool for you. Okay, the only one you don't have to do is if you flip the page to page 8, this is the only one right here that you don't have to do. So you can just omit this one. I'm just going to put a star beside it. So this one you don't have to do. I'll probably come back and show you how to do it another day though. So this one you don't have to do, so that just leaves you 4 problems to do. Yeah, for homework. So do it now and have no homework. That's what I say.
This is the skill.
So you've just got this picture I'm not going to have you do. I'm just going to have you do the 2 below it and then the other 2 on the page 7. So you're just going to write down whatever the card has, which is the formula and then the other missing pieces, and then you'll work out the area in the other section.
Sweet.
So, and if anybody wants to cut them out and glue them on, you're welcome.
Mm-hmm. Because that sounds.
Look, it's the same.